Have you ever opened a spreadsheet and just felt that wave of panic? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on Microsoft Excel, starting right from square one. Let's do this.
Does this look familiar? Just a flood of numbers, lists, names, expenses. It is so easy to feel overwhelmed, whether you're tracking salaries, project budgets, or even just your own monthly spending. It really can feel like you're buried under a mountain of paper. But what if I told you there's a tool that's designed specifically to turn all that chaos into pure clarity? Well, that's Excel, and we're about to learn exactly how to tame that data and make it work for you, not the other way around. Okay, before we start clicking around, let's just zoom out for a second. What really is Excel at its core? Honestly, think of it as your personal data powerhouse. You know, Excel basically has four main jobs. First, it stores your data in these nice, neat, organized tables. Second, it crunches all the numbers for you. We're talking everything from simple addition to really complex formulas. Third, it helps you analyze that information to find patterns you might have missed. And finally, it turns all your findings into these professional-looking reports and charts. All right, let's fire up Excel. I want you to think of it like walking into a new workshop. Before you can build anything cool, you got to know what your tools are, right? So let's get familiar with the layout. First thing you'll see is the workbook. This is your entire Excel file. The best way to think of it is like a digital notebook. So when you save your work as, say, salary.xlsx, you're saving the whole notebook from cover to cover. Now, inside that notebook, you have individual pages. We call these worksheets, or a lot of times just sheets. And this is super useful because you can keep different sets of related data, like maybe employee details on one sheet and their salary calculations on another, all tucked away neatly in the same file. And that brings us to the most basic, fundamental building block of it all, the cell. It's just that little box where a column, which has a letter, and a row, which has a number, meet. Each one of these boxes, like A1 or B2, is designed to hold just one single piece of information. This is where all your data actually lives. Okay, enough theory. The absolute best way to learn is by doing. So let's get our hands dirty and build our very first table. We'll track some employees' salaries, and you'll see just how intuitive this can be. So here's rule number one for a great spreadsheet. Always start with clear, descriptive headers. This tells you and anyone you share it with exactly what kind of information goes in each column. For our example, we'll just use name, department, and salary. Simple, but so important. Okay, now we can start filling in our table. And notice we're entering different types of data, right? We've got text for the name and department, and then we've got numbers under salary. This is a really key point, because Excel actually understands that difference, and that's what unlocks its power to do calculations for us later. See? What a difference a few clicks can make. Just by making the headers bold and adding some simple borders, our data is instantly so much easier to read. And remember, good formatting isn't just about looking pretty. It's about making your data clear, understandable, and trustworthy. Okay, storing data is great, but this is where Excel becomes a real game changer. We're about to make it do all the heavy lifting for us. So let's talk about formulas and functions. This is the engine that drives every great spreadsheet. So here's the critical difference. You could use a calculator, sure, but what happens when one of those numbers changes? You have to do all the math all over again. With Excel, you tell it which cells to use. That means if the value in a cell changes, your total updates automatically. This is going to save you from so much tedious work and prevent some really costly mistakes. And beyond just basic math, Excel comes with this amazing built-in toolkit of shortcuts we call functions. Need to add up a long column of salaries? Use sum. Want to find the average sale? Use average. Need to find the highest or lowest number in a list? Max and min are going to be your best friends. These tools are just massive time savers. Now this is one of the most powerful tools for any beginner. The if function literally lets Excel make decisions for you. You just give it a simple test. For example, if the score in this cell is greater than 35, then show pass. If not, show fail. It is like having a tiny little decision maker built into every single cell. So, you've entered your data, you've styled it, you've even done some calculations. But what does it all mean? Well, the next step is to turn that raw data into actual insights. This is where the analysis comes in. Two of the fastest ways to find answers in your data are sorting and filtering. With just one click, you can sort your employees by salary to see who the top earner is. With another click, you can filter your view to see only the employees in the IT department. These tools let you just cut through all the noise and focus on exactly what you need to know.
Okay, so our table's grown a little bit. Now with 5 employees across 3 different departments, it's getting kind of hard to see the big picture at a glance. I mean, who's the top earner? Which department costs the most? You can figure it out, but your brain has to do a little work.
And bam! Look at that. A simple bar chart transforms that boring table of numbers into a story you can understand instantly. You can see right away that Amit from sales is the highest earner, no question. This is the power of visualization. It's how you find and share insights with zero friction. It's awesome.
Wow, we've covered a ton of ground, from cells and formulas all the way to charts. Now, the absolute best way to make these skills really stick is to put them into practice yourself. So, I've got a little mini challenge for you. Here's your mission. Just follow these 4 steps. You'll get to practice everything we just learned, entering data, using a basic formula, and even applying some of that decision-making logic with the powerful if function. Go ahead and pause here and give it a shot.
Let's just pause for a second and appreciate how far you've come in just a few minutes. You started with a completely blank sheet, and now you have the core skills to build something genuinely useful. You can enter and format data, you can make Excel do the math for you, and you can turn a boring old table of numbers into a really compelling visual story.
And that's really the big takeaway here. Excel isn't just about rows and columns, it's a blank canvas for your ideas. You now have the fundamental tools to organize your finances, track a project at work, or manage your team's data. So the only question left is, what are you going to build first?